I'm sure most of you are familiar with the scandal regarding the Godot engine. Basically, one of their community managers decided to open themselves up for trolling on the internet by saying that they're actually a woke engine. In the time of Bud Light, Target, Concord, and many other hints, they couldn't read the room. And they were like, no, we're actually a woke engine. So obviously people started making fun of them. It was like, okay, so I'm making a game about robbing a gas station. Is this woke? Because in my universe, the police has been defunded. And the response of the community manager, of course, is censorship, because this is the only thing that woke people know on how to handle situations. There is no dialogue, there is no discourse, because they don't know how to actually do that. Communicate with other humans, I mean. So they started banning everyone. They started banning backers. They started banning people that were just criticizing the engine itself, rather than, addressing the holy wokeness, which is beyond criticism. I mean, I understand this is the only ideology in the history of the planet that has absolutely nothing worth criticizing. And any criticism requires a ban, of course. Now, one of the higher-ups in charge of the Godot project comes up and says, hey, look, I'm not into politics. I just want to make software. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what they said. And other people took his words and showed them to the community manager, and they got a ban. Because, of course, these people are insane. They're mad with power. Like, if they could ban their boss, they would. Like, they would ban everyone. The perfect world is where everyone gets banned. And this caused a massive shit show. And a lot of people were laughing. But then they started banning people on GitHub, right? It's usually, why would you ban something woke if it's good, right? My question is, like, why would you ban a developer that's anti-woke if he writes good code? But whatever. Apparently, people were getting banned on GitHub. And this caused a fork in the engine. Like, a bunch of other people were like, okay, we're tired of your shit. You people are petulant children. You just cannot handle any type of discourse. You want to have a dialogue. Like, you obviously do, right? You talk about wokeness and shit, but the moment people disagree with you, you're acting like a child and you ban everyone. So they tried to create an alternative community called Red Dot. Now, the interesting thing is that if you leave it alone, chances are it will fail. It will fail because it has no major backers, it doesn't have any corporate sponsorships, it doesn't have any powerful investors behind it. It looks like a ripoff. Like, let's be honest, alright? If you let nature take its course, chances are, in a couple of months, no one would talk about this project. But what's interesting is that while they're saying this, they're not allowing nature to take its course. No, like they are giving harassment to the developers of Red Dot. They're trying to dox them. I have seen Red Dot show receipts with people going in and saying, like, oh, I want to grape your mom. I want to grape everyone in your family. I want to... I hate people like you. I despise people like you, right? None of the game journalists are reporting on this. None of the content creators that are centrists and they are like, oh yes, I understand that this person is acting like a cheeky little shit online, but they don't deserve harassment. Not a peep out of those people. Or, like the woke are bad, but like the anti-woke are even worse. I mean, look at the harassment they're dishing out. No one is talking about this. And it's not like it's not known. I mean, again, these posts are getting more than thousands of likes and they're getting tens of thousands of views and engagement. Like, people know what's happening. But for some reason, it's like woke people are treated like children, I think. Like, they are allowed to be petulant. They are allowed to do all this shit online. No one calls them out. I mean, it's expected. I mean, oh, look, he is woke. I mean, he's going to behave like that. We can't have standards. The ideology probably brain fucked him or something. Like, of course he's going to try and dish harassment. I mean, it's what they do, right? And this is pretty much how people treat it. I find it, again, interesting because I generally do not believe in the Red Dot project. I do not think it will be successful. Now, I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will eat crow. 2 or 3 years from now, you're coming up to me and it's like, look, this is a viable engine. A lot of independent game developers are using it. But no, this is not what's going to happen. But despite all this, they are still getting harassed. And there's people on Discord going over to their server, posting not safe for work, trying to get their Discord banned. What I understand is that GitHub has shadow banned Red Hat from the search engine. I don't know if it's just like algorithm thing, protection against spam, because it may be, right? Like you have a project that just pops up and all of a sudden it witnesses massive traffic, so like there may be some safety feature that is at GitHub. But from what I understand, like one of the higher ups at GitHub is invested in Godot, so like maybe people are speculating that there's a conflict of interest there. But still, this is something that I have seen time and time again in other communities. And people wonder, it's like, well, why aren't there more businesses that are anti? Well, this is why. Is this level of harassment and demoralization tactics that are happening. Because, for instance, in the furry community, right? This was like 10 or 15 years ago. A lot of the furry conventions were completely co-opted by social justice activists. Like, these people were so mentally unhinged that they were like, we don't want Nazi furs. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Nazi fur? Do you feel like if you go into a prison next to an actual Nazi and you put a furry next to them, like they collaborate, they talk to each other, You must be mental, but what they actually meant is like, no, you're not allowed to be a furry unless you're doing political activism for the Democrats. That's pretty much what they were saying. So they started purging people from events. There was this guy, To the Ranting Griffin, I believe, and he wasn't political, and many people like him got purged. So they decided to make their own convention, and the exact same level of harassment, the exact same level of attacks were done against them. It also happened with bigger social media websites. If you guys remember Parler, like Parler was getting big, and now started getting actors, and it got people from the press, and it was gradually growing, and all of a sudden it gets deplatformed by the bigger companies because, oh my god, January 6th. And as time moves on, it turns out that the January 6th wasn't even organized on Parler, it was organized on Facebook and Twitter, and these platforms do not get any criticism whatsoever. Like, no, they're perfectly fine. So now you can see that, well, it kind of looks like they were just taking away the competition. It kind of looks like there was this platform that wasn't controlled. This is before Elon Musk bought Twitter, by the way. So it looks like it was a platform that was naturally growing, despite all expectations, and they just wanted to take it out. And they did. So they suspended it, and by the time it comes back, people lost their interest. People are like, okay, well, we're not using this platform now. And this is what happens if you have a business that goes against the wall. But the thing is, like, they can't do this forever. Like, eventually, you're noticing that the money is drying up. When it comes to a game engine, they're not actually reliant on people buying the game engine. So I don't think like Godot being woke is going to affect them in any way. It's kind of like Gucci being woke. If it's a brand that advertised to the upper middle class women, they're not going to run out of money anytime soon. But what they are doing is basically they're telling talented developers, hey, unless you're woke, you can't work with us, right? So like they're just depriving themselves of talent. And over the course of time, while Red Dot may not be successful, again, this is my opinion, you can correct me in a couple of years and show me, no, look, this is actually, right? But in a couple of years, there's definitely going to be more and more developers that are going to go to other independent projects. Like, I, as a game developer, wouldn't feel safe working with a platform that absolutely hates me. I see the vitriol that they're giving to people on Discord, and they're flat out saying, unless you think exactly like us, it's not that we hate you, we despise you. Like, your very existence is an affront to us. Like, there was, like, this developer, holy shit. Sorry, not a developer. There was this Johnny, like, community managers from Hell Level, basically saying that they would enact the final solution against non-woke people if it could. So, like, basically, like, these people would do it, it's just that they don't have the power. So if they would ever get in a position where they would have power over other human beings, they would definitely enact the final solution. And it's funny because the official Godot server is disavowing that mod. It's like, well, yeah, but they're from an unofficial server. Except that a lot of the mods from the actual engine went there. They promoted that. They talked about it. And now they're like, oh, well, I guess, even for us, it's a little bit bad optics. So, like, we can talk about the final solution behind closed doors, just not in public. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is why people don't like wokeness. It's not the idea, it's the behavior. They're behaving like cheeky little shits on the internet, and they are allowed to behave like petulant little kids, spewing their vitriol and their hatred and their bigotry, and attacking anyone that disagrees with them, and being so selfish and greedy and vile. Like in a normal situation, okay, you're making a game engine You have someone else that's also making a game engine. You think you could collaborate and try to improve it for the gaming community as a whole. But no, they are divisive, cheeky little shits. Like, they go out of their way to refuse and work with anyone that doesn't think like them. And then they go Pikachu face when other people do the same. When they get excluded by the larger audience and they're like, yeah, your product may be good, but you're woke. And we know your idea, we know your behavior, we know your tactics, we know the way you treat other people, so we just don't want to associate with you. And they go Pikachu face, and they just don't understand it. It's like, but what is woke? All of a sudden they don't know, right? Like, they will brand their engine as the woke engine, but when they get criticized, it's like, wait, what is woke anyway? What does it mean? Can you tell us? Like, what does it's a good product, why you no buy? Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.